Hello, world. Welcome to the last Grand Prix of the season. This is another episode of Overtakes F1 podcast. We're a two-man show today as our beloved V is out on a special project. So me and Eddie will take the show on.
We'll hold the fort down while V's away.
Yeah.
But I'm super sad that this season is coming to an end. It's been so good, and even though it's been the longest season in history, it feels so short. It feels like it went by in no time, and I'm just excited for next season to start already.
I got a good question to start
Let's hear it.
for you, Eddie, and for those of you watching. What are we gonna do now for the next few Sundays?
I know.
I don't know what to do.
I mean, we have F1 TV, so I guess we'll just watch old races and try to pretend like the season's still happening.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Just erase memory and just watch. You know what I'm gonna do? That's a good
What's
idea.
that?
I'm gonna go back and watch the early 2000s when I
Yeah,
used to
those are
watch
good
when I was a
races.
little kid. Yep.
But
Yep.
even though this is the last race of the season and the last race in a triple header, there is a lot of hotness that happened in the last 3 days since the last
Yep.
race. Mainly, we can start by talking about how there's a new rivalry somehow brewing between Max Verstappen and George Russell that came out of nowhere,
Yep.
where George Russell pretty
Yep.
much drove into the back of Max while he was on an outlap, and then I guess went to the stewards and went hard at Max. Now they're throwing words around to each other. Max apparently said that he's going to put George in the wall. George is calling
Like
Max a
that?
bully. Yeah, you didn't hear that?
I did see something about there was a drivers' dinner today
Mm-hmm.
in which there were a few drivers missing, but Lando posted on his Instagram saying, "Yes, the two drivers you were thinking about completely sat on opposite ends." Without like giving clues, and then there's just a Max comment at the bottom with a little emoji of a meat saying like beef.
That's so
So yeah,
funny.
it's real. The beef is real,
I mean,
and I love it.
so I was watching the weekend warm up that Formula One does, that F1 TV does, and they were
Uh-huh.
talking about how Max said that George Russell's a completely different person in front of the FIA and stuff like that off camera. And he
Uh-huh.
wasn't, or I think it was Will Buxton that came to his defense and said, he's not the only driver who said that. He's just the first one who said it on camera, which is kind of interesting. But George Russell did say some things that were interesting in the sense where like somebody needs to stand up to Max and he's just a bully on and off the track and stuff like that. So it looks like it's bubbling over, and I'm interested to see if it's going to translate into this race.
But why is this happening now? Like,
I have no
I
idea.
wish this would have been happening at the middle of the season so we could just see it grow even more. And it just starts happening now in the last two races. By the time next season starts, it'll all be squashed out.
Yeah, I think it's
Or maybe not.
because this is the first season that George Russell beat his teammate, and now he's feeling some type of way, thinking he's going to be the next challenger for the championship. And I think he's just trying to prove or show that he's not scared of Max.
And wouldn't it be funny if that rumor came true with both of those fellas being teammates on the same team?
Oh, you think Max is going to go to Mercedes?
I don't know.
I think
It's a
there's a
rumor. You
0%
think it'll
chance of that
happen?
happening. No, I don't think so.
Nah, me too.
No, there's no way. But other than
On other
words being
news,
exchanged, other than words being exchanged
mm,
between them, there's not much that's happening between Max and George. But we do have two battles in the Constructors' Championship this weekend. The first one is the battle for first, and the second one is the battle for sixth in the Constructors. And the battle for
yep.
first, McLaren leads by 21 points, Now, if Ferrari finishes first and second, finishes 1-2, and McLaren finishes 4-5, Ferrari wins. So it's possible. Unlikely, but possible. And in the battle for sixth, Alpine leads by 5 points. So Haas is the closest challenger. They would need to outscore Alpine by 6 points, which for a midfield team is pretty hard. So I think that one's not likely to happen.
And isn't that crazy though, for a midfield battle, like where the points, as the lower you go, the point starts getting smaller, and 5 points is the difference deciding sixth place,
Yep.
aka $20 million constructors prize.
It's crazy. All because of one wet race in Brazil.
Isn't that crazy?
Alpine was ninth,
that's awesome, man.
and now they're gonna get sixth place because of one crazy race.
That's crazy.
So
since
what do you
hold
think is
on,
gonna
but
happen?
since we're
Do you
talking
think-
about
do you think
Alpine,
yeah. Well, I was gonna ask.
since we're talking
what
about
do you-
Alpine,
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna
You
say,
first.
do you think Ferrari can win it, and do you think Alpine can hold on to the lead?
I have predictions that Haas somehow come through at the at the very end, meaning in this weekend. And this kind of goes more to my point. Hold on. I do want a Ferrari to win, right? I'm a Ferrari fan. I do want them to win. So let's see what happens. But this whole sixth place thing is a little bit more interesting to me right now. So
Yeah.
I do have Haas with a breakout this weekend to come through and take the sixth. Right? That's what I had chosen before.
I think so, yeah.
I do have in my predictions. Haas, RB in seventh, and Alpine falls back to eighth. That even boils more because of what I was saying. It's like, are they really gonna just get rid of Ocon? Who's like a seasoned driver, even though hasn't been doing well. He did great, in Brazil and stuff, but just throwing Jack there to race the final race and maybe not really pull something together for the team to get the points required to take a sixth place in the constructors. I don't know if there's any clauses in the contract or is there a reason what they did to Ocon in order to allow him to do post-race postseason tests for Haas. There has to be something there, but
yeah, I think
he
there was
clearly said
an
his
agreement.
intentions was to finish the season with Alpine, and it didn't go as planned.
Yeah, I mean, he posted a very long post on Instagram thanking the team, the engineers, the mechanics, all that stuff. But I think as far as replacing, so Jack Doohan is going to replace Ocon for this race, and he's the one who's getting the Alpine seat for next year. So they wanted to start him early, I guess. With regards to the constructors battle, I don't know if Alpine feels threatened, because that gap of 5 points doesn't sound like much, but for the midfield, it's really hard to score points. And the way that Gasly's been driving, it seems like he's just the best midfield driver right now. And I think that they feel pretty safe.
He himself will pull in those 5.
Well, they lead by 5, so they just need to finish ahead of Haas. I mean, if they score any points, it's going to be almost impossible for Haas to overtake them. So I think they feel pretty good about that. But there's another driver that we should talk about in Isaac Hadjar, because he's replacing Max in FP1. But in the most recent press conference in Formula 2, he was in a room with Ollie Behrman and I think Kimi Antonelli. And they asked him a question like,
I saw that.
Like, you're in the room. You're in the room with 2 drivers who are going to be in Formula 1 next year. Does that, make you think about what your future looks like? And he alluded to the fact that he's already got a seat lined up for next year. And he didn't say it, but I mean, he basically said it.
He said it without saying it. And after he said it, he's like, did I say that?
Yeah. So it seemed like he wasn't supposed to say what he said,
Mm.
but it's looking like he's gonna get a V carb seat, which would mean that Liam or Yuki is out of specifically a V carb seat. But additionally, it's also seeming like this is actually the end for Checo.
Yes.
So who do you think gets that Red Bull seat if it is Checo's last race?
You ready for this prediction?
Let's hear it.
2025 Red Bull V carb drivers: Max, Liam, Yuki, Hajar.
Okay, but who's getting the Red Bull seat?
That's what I said. Max,
Who's getting the seat
Liam,
in Red Bull? Who's going to be next to Max on
Liam,
the same team? Oh, Liam. Okay.
Max,
You think it's going
Liam,
to be Liam?
and Red Bulls, and then in V carb, Yuki, Hajar.
The way that Liam
You
Lawson's
heard
been
it here
talking,
first.
the way that, I mean, I think you're right, but the way Liam Lawson's been talking, it seems like he's not sure if he has a seat next year. He doesn't seem too confident about that. And I mean, Yuki's been spanking him. So I mean, I get that like Christian Horner doesn't like Yuki, but at what point, like, what does he need to do to get that seat? It seems like there's nothing. He could probably win the race tomorrow and he wouldn't get that seat, which is
Yeah.
pretty nuts.
Yeah. I don't know. It's
Uh,
crazy. That's just my prediction of what I think might happen.
mhm.
But the talks recently doesn't really lay out confidently
No,
that that's what's
no,
gonna happen, right?
I think you're right though. I think that will be the lineup. That Liam Lawson will get the Red Bull seat, and it'll be Yuki and Isaac Hajar in the V carbs, which would put 7 rookies on the grid. 6 rookies on the grid, which is crazy. Next year is going to be
Right?
carnage.
DNFs. You get a DNF. You get a DNF. You get a
It's
DNF.
going to be crazy.
Nah,
Um,
those kids can drive.
One more thing. Arthur Leclerc, Charles Leclerc's brother, who drives, I
Yes.
believe, in Formula 3 or Formula 2. I think Formula 3 is going to run the Carlos Sainz Ferrari in FP1, which will be the first time that two brothers had a Formula One session together on the same team in F1 history. And I think that's pretty cool.
Yep. When I first read that, mind you, it says first brothers in the same team in Formula One. I'm like, didn't Schumacher and Rafa? I'm like, well, nope, they weren't in the same team. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what makes me think even more, Eddie? Before we even like hopped on today to talk about this, in FP1 tomorrow, how the hell are we gonna distinguish
That's
on the
true.
left side who is
I didn't even
who?
I
Because
didn't even think about
they don't
that.
put numbers. It's just
That's
gonna be
true.
Ferrari Lek. Who's who?
That's true. We'll say that the driver ahead is Arthur Leclerc to make it exciting.
uh, I mean, we'll know what their car is, because Sainz car has a little yellow thing up
Mm-hmm.
at the top, and then obviously the number in the car. But
On the
in the
timesheet.
stats bar on the
Yeah.
side, it's Lek.
Yep.
All right, that'll be funny to see how they do it tomorrow. I'm here
Uh,
over it, but congrats to Arthur for the opportunity.
yeah. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that so many teams are putting, especially teams that are actually in a fight for constructors positions, but how many teams are putting rookies in FP1? Because I think all the teams have filled the. I mean, maybe they haven't. I guess that's the only
What
reason they put the
the
rookies in.
necessary
Yeah, the
pre-practice?
necessary sessions. Yeah.
Mhm.
But if I remember correctly, each team has had each driver sit out one FP1 for a rookie. So I'm not really sure about that.
Mm.
Um,
I'm still waiting to get my call.
even if I got to drive a Formula 4 car just to go down a straight, I would be happy.
Dude,
I
give
don't
me
have to
an
turn the
F1
car.
Academy car and I'll live the
I,
life.
Yeah.
FP1 Formula Academy. I'll put the wig on and everything.
Dude, did you see what happened to Abby Pulling? The
What,
girl
that
who
she
won
won
F1
the
Academy? But they took
she
away her
won?
title. They took it
Huh?
away because they canceled the race. They canceled so Formula 1 Academy usually run 2 races per weekend.
Okay.
And so last weekend in Qatar they canceled the second race and they
Okay.
added a third race to this weekend. So Formula 1 Academy is going to run 3 races. And in Formula 1 Academy, they have 25 points to first place, and then they have 3 points for fastest lap, and they have 2 points for pole position. So in theory, the person she's only up by 83 points, and in theory, the person in second place can get 84 points. So really, she has to score 1 point to win over the whole weekend. But it's kind of ridiculous that they they took away her title.
Wasn't she up? Wasn't she up ahead by like 1,000 points or something?
She's up 83 points. She's finished on the podium in every single race that has been raced in F1 Academy.
And
But
who's
she's up
second?
80. I'm not sure, but she's up 83
What's the reason
points
for taking away the race though?
because them taking a. I don't know why they canceled it. I just thought
That's
it was
crazy,
funny.
dude. Why would you?
Yeah.
That's well.
Listen, F1 Academy Drive to Survive is gonna be lit.
You know what's crazy though? Speaking about F1 Academy, I've been following up with them. Not that I watch all the races and stuff, but I watch the news here and there. There's a lot for the next season. There's a
Hmm.
lot of new faces coming on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into next year's grid for F1 Academy, but the
I haven't
when
looked
we saw
fully into
them,
it, but the way I follow some of the information for F1 Academy, I've just been seeing lately there's just been a whole bunch of like this person is gonna join next season, this person is gonna join next season. And
that's pretty cool.
pretty cool. Yeah.
When we saw them, when we went to the Miami Grand Prix and we saw they had the F1
Mhm.
Academy running, it was pretty cool, pretty fun to watch.
Dude, we had pit access and everything.
Yeah, because the pit lane was where general admission was, so you could walk through.
Yeah.
Not the pit lane, the paddock. The F1 Academy
The
paddock
paddock.
was in.
Well, not really. Well,
Yeah, the F1 Academy
no. When
paddock
we
was
had the
in general
general
admission. We
admission, we
walked
were
through it.
right. Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah,
exactly. Sorry, I was thinking paddock when we went in the paddock
yeah.
paddock.
No, I'm talking about the F1
But you're
Academy
talking
paddock.
about F1 Academy paddock. Yes.
Exactly. But it was pretty
Yeah.
cool. You got to like, I mean, you get really close to like you can touch them if nobody's looking. Like they're right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last thing that we can talk about real quick is there was a team principal announced for GM.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Graham Loden. Probably butchering his name. Sorry about that. But he was a sporting director for Marussia. And now he's going to be the team principal for GM starting 2026, obviously, which is pretty cool. And then I did hear that they're. Oh, go ahead.
I just thought GM was gonna take a little longer to just think, play out, and plan, this decision. But the fact that they were
I
able to
mean,
come up with somebody already,
they
nice
have to hire.
progress, huh?
Yeah, they have to hire somebody soon because in January when they get the new formula, they need to start building that car, and they need somebody in charge.
True.
But what I was going to say is, it looks like Formula One is interested in even adding a 12th team to the grid. Did you see that?
No. Damn, where are you
Yeah,
getting these news out of?
they said they'd be open to it. I don't know if there's any actual talks about any potential 12th team, but it seems like they'd be open to it. I think it's going to be already weird with 11 teams because I didn't watch back in the days when there were like 40 drivers on the grid. So I'm not sure what that
Yeah.
looks like, but with the size of these cars, it already seems like there's just not enough space on the track.
Yeah.
Like imagine adding 4 more cars to qualifying. Like it'll just be as
Hey,
Valtteri Bottas put
good
it,
for
traffic
us.
paradise.
Qualifying gets longer. They
I
have
mean,
to add more minutes.
they're gonna
We
be
get to enjoy
they're gonna
more.
be it's gonna look like downhill skiing, bro, like slalom. They're gonna have to be dodging
No,
cars left and right.
but forget about qualifying. You add 4 more cars to the grid. When it comes to the Grand Prix itself, you're just gonna it's you won't know who's first.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be overlaps
yeah.
up in the overlaps.
I think that's all the news. I mean, that's decently long, 20 minutes. We talked about it, but you want to jump into the track this weekend and get to our predictions?
Take it away on the track, Eddie. You're the expert.
So this track is called the Yas Marina Circuit. It is where all roads in Formula One lead because they always close out every F1 season. Really cool track in my opinion. Yeah, recently, sure. Yeah, recently. But I really like the track. It's different as far as the fact that it starts while the sun is up and then the sun sets during the race. It seems like, especially it's a little cold right now there. So it looks like the track temperature is going to drop. They're expecting it to drop at least 10 degrees. That's Celsius, by the way, when the sun sets. So it's going to be interesting to see
the strategies
exactly, and how different teams' tires end up working, because we saw when it's cold, the Mercedes is fast. And we see when it's warm, I mean, the Ferrari's fast, the Red Bull's fast, the McLaren's fast, and the Mercedes doesn't really work. So it's going to be interesting to see. But there are 2 DRS zones on 2 decently long straights. A lot of opportunity for overtaking, because that's how F1 cars overtake now, is with DRS zones. And last year's podium was Verstappen in first, Leclerc in second, and Russell in third. And I don't know if you watched last year's race or remember it, but Verstappen and Leclerc had a pretty fun battle throughout that race. I don't know if you want to go back and watch it, but it is pretty fun to watch.
1000% I watched it, but I have zero recollection.
Yeah, this is an awkward timed race for us on the East Coast in the United States, because it's going to start at 8 a.m., which is like, I know like you guys have kids, so it's like too late to like watch it before the kids wake up, and it's too early to, when everybody's all settled in, and it's probably when you're doing like your morning rituals and stuff.
Forget morning rituals. I'm watching the race. This is the last race of the season, which a lot of decisions will be decided. Whatever I need to do on Sunday morning is not going to get done. I'm going to watch the race.
I love it. So V's not here, but we do have her predictions.
Yep, she submitted.
Do you want to jump
right
into predictions?
Let's do it. And mind you, before we start talking about predictions, I lead predictions 1 point ahead. So this battle is not only for constructors, it's also for the podcasters championship.
Will is at 35 points and I've got 34 points. And then V has some number of points that we won't mention. But yeah, the points gap between us is 1. So I'm looking at our predictions and it looks like we've got a lot of different ones. So this is going to be a swing. Somebody's going to take this by a landslide. So let's get into it. For quali pole, Vero has picked Max Verstappen as her pole position.
Yep.
Care to defend that, V?
Wait, hold on.
Good job.
Oh no, I was gonna say my prediction is wrong, but it's correct.
That's your quali pole. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about your prediction?
Yeah. For quali pole, I have Mr. Lando Norris. I do think the race right there between pole is going to be between Max and Lando. Max is obviously going to have a killer time, But at the very end in Q3, when the clock comes down to 0, Lando is just going to come in and beat it by like 0.3 tenths of a second.
We will see.
0.03 tenths.
Yeah. 300. For my prediction, I went with George Russell. Now, the reason I went with George Russell is A, he's got a fire lit under him right now, and B, it's the race is going to start at 5 p.m. local time, and the sun is set. The sun is set to set. The sun is expected to set around 5:30, but quali starts at 6 p.m. Now it's going to be dark, and it's going to be cold, and that Mercedes likes the cold. So I think Russell's going to take pole position.
All right, hold on. You took this too serious. Change your prediction. That's not fair.
I got a title to win.
You freaking have a thermometer over there as well?
I have a title to win. Let's look at our podium predictions. For V's podium, she predicts that Leclerc will win, Sainz will get P2, and Max will get P3. And those predictions
She's all in
are
for
spicy.
Ferrari.
Those predictions
Yeah.
are spicy, but those exact predictions are even spicier because that will mean something significant. It will mean that Ferrari will win the world championship. Guaranteed.
Yep. Whether McLaren gets fastest lap or not,
Mm-hmm.
that's a. Let's see what happens. My podium predictions are. Dun 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 dun. Have you seen the last 5 years of this Grand Prix winners?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm sticking to the same plan.
Gotcha.
Max P1, Mr. Lando with his fast McLaren P2, hoping the FIA doesn't give him a penalty for sneezing during his race. And then Oscar P3. I just think the McLarens are gonna do well this weekend. Although I am a Ferrari fan and I do want them to win the constructors. Those are my predictions.
Okay. Let's see if you're right. For my podium, I predicted Leclerc P1, Max P2, and George Russell P3. So we all have very different predictions. It's going to be interesting to see
And I
who's
love
closest.
it. It's spicy.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nail biting Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to
Anything can happen.
breakout. Yeah, let's move on to breakout and broken. So for breakout, V has chosen Ferrari. And for broken, V has chosen McLaren. Now, it's safe to say she's gone all in on Ferrari.
Yes.
And I think it's okay for us to say now that McLaren will be considered broken, no matter how well they do. If they lose the Constructors' Championship, they will be considered broken.
I think so too. Being up by 21 points, and all you got to do is bring the cup home. You don't bring it home, you're broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your breakout and broken performer, Will, because I have a bone to pick.
So from my breakout, I got Haas. I got Magnussen and Hulkenberg. Somehow hoping they finish in the points.
Mm-hmm.
To get the 6 points for the constructors. America, let's go.
All they would need is 8th and 9th place, and Alpine doesn't score, and they get P6.
I just think so. This decision of mine of Haas kind of comes from my predictions from a few weeks ago, whether we had decided who's going to
Mm-hmm.
take 6, and especially even more after this whole, Alpine getting rid of Ocon, which is a seasoned driver. Not that I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying Jack Doohan is bad. I just really, you're going to pull this now on the last race of the Grand Prix? Okay. So I have them as my breakout Haas. And for broken, I do think Colapinto is gonna finish this race, but I don't think it'll be anywhere as good. I think a lot of drivers are gonna go all out just to prove a point this last race. Colapinto, nothing against him, but I just don't think he'll bring it.
So you think he's just gonna have a bad performance? Because to say Colapinto broken, I'm not sure what needs to happen for that to qualify, because I don't think he's finished the last 3 races. And he's crashed 4 cars in the last 3 races. So what would
You
he
want
need
me
to
to be more
do
specific?
to well, it's
I mean, for
like
sure, it's out of the points.
if
For
he
sure,
if
out
he
of the points.
if he finishes, it would be an improvement on his last 3 races. You know what I mean?
Okay, but if he finishes, doesn't mean it's a breakout either.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. We got to
Just
draw a line
don't
somewhere.
crash that damn Sargent car,
Okay.
and I'll be happy.
Okay.
But
So
I
I
don't
guess we'll
think he'll finish in the points.
okay. It's up for debate for the post race. For my breakout, I've gone for Jack Doohan. Actually, I think he's gonna do pretty well. He knows this track really well. He's won here before in Formula 2, and I think it's a good. I mean, he's been the reserve driver for a long time, so he knows the car, he knows the track, and I think it won't take him any time to get up to speed. And for my my broken performer, this is the first time we can check the tape. This is the first time all year I go with Checo as my broken performer. I don't like to pick on the low
First
hanging
time.
fruit, but I think that this one is going to be especially bad. I mean, I think it's going to have a
So what's
miserable
Checo broken for you?
weekend.
Outside of the points or like 7, 8,
No, no, no,
9?
no. He's not. I don't think he's scoring points. I think it's gonna be real bad, because I think he knows the writing's on the wall, and there's nothing he can do to change that. And I think he's so in his head right now. I mean, he's just not going to perform. That's my prediction.
Okay, pretty good. Pretty good.
But let's look at wild predictions. So V's wild prediction is a K-Mag DNF. So she's trying to put some voodoo on your breakout. And then she had a
Hold on,
second
but
one.
she has two. She has two. You know what?
And
She's so far back, we'll let her.
she has K-Mag DNF, and she also has Ferrari winning the World Constructors Championship, which makes sense from the way that she did her prediction. So she went completely all in on the Ferrari train.
Yes. Yes.
Let's hear yours, Will.
We'll take it. My wild prediction for this Sunday is Mr. Lewis Hamilton. By the way, we didn't even touch bases his last race with Mercedes.
We didn't. Yeah.
Wow.
There's so much else. There's so many other things going on that we didn't even talk about Lewis.
Anyways, I think Mr. Lewis is going to finish in the top 5. This last race for Petronas, AMG, Mercedes, whatever else the name of this team is.
Okay.
I think he's just going to top 5.
Cool. My wild prediction is that all drivers who start the race will finish the race. That's
Please explain, because I read that and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, so there might be a situation where like a driver crashes in quali, like Williams crashes in quali, and they just don't have any parts to build the car, and one of them can't start the race. That wouldn't count. But if they start the race, there's going to be no DNFs during the race.
You could have just said that, Eddie.
No, but it's different. It's different because this way I hedge against any formation lap nonsense. Because leave it to Ferrari to retire the car on the formation lap. Or Yuki. Bro, we've had 2 cars this year. Yuki retired on a formation lap and Leclerc retired on a formation lap. I'm not having none of that. I don't want there to be any misconstrued. This is the last race of the season, and we're separated by 1 point.
All right. I'm also glad you didn't mention Stroll on that statement of yours because that doesn't count.
Oh my god, I forgot
Yeah,
about
by the
Stroll.
way,
Stroll did it
by
too.
the way, no, even funnier. So there was the F1 posted drivers dinner, right?
Mhm,
The and you see like all the drivers there together around the table taking a picture. But
mhm.
I counted. I'm like, there's 16 people here. And I'm trying to figure out who the hell is there, right? So I played the game and I figured it out. But it's funny. I click on the comments and people are like, "Where the hell is K Mag? Where the hell is Hulkenberg? And where's Fernando Alonso?" Nobody mentioned Stroll is also missing. The comments are just like, "Where's K Mag? Where's Alonso? Where's Hulkenberg?"
That's too
Not
funny.
one person. Yeah, hilarious.
Everybody's used to him just not being there, not showing
Yeah.
up.
But for some reason, in that picture that F1 posted, only 16 drivers were there for the drivers' dinner. Aston and Haas weren't there, but people only cared about 3 drivers missing.
That's too
I think
funny.
Stroll was in timeout. He
All right,
must have
36.
dented his Aston Martin's airplane wheel somewhere, and Daddy says, "You're not going to that dinner."
That's his punishment. He's grounded.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we can call it here. I think we went through everything. I'm excited for the race and the whole weekend in general. And I'm sad that it's the
Yeah.
last one, but hopefully it's a good one.
Yeah.
Anything else you want
Um,
to say?
I did wish this race was a little later here for us on the east coast of the United States of America. Because honestly, when we had the race in Qatar this past weekend at 11 o'clock, Eddie came over. We watched it together. One heck of a race to watch it all together. But let's watch this race. Eddie, if anything, get up in the morning to watch it live at 8 a.m. because I don't want to be, I'm going to be on the group chat
Okay.
texting away. And I
Sounds
don't want
good.
you to be like, I'm still sleeping. Don't spill the beans. I'm
Okay.
spilling
I'll
beans.
try. I'll try.
So that's all I got. I hope everybody else watching also enjoys this last race. And we'll be back on Sunday for the recap video.
Thanks, everybody. Catch you then.
Thanks for watching.